This year has been one unlike any other. And when we were planning back in August and September, we asked ourselves, should we host the Student Action Summit in Palm Beach? Because 2020 is the year where everything got canceled. And by not forcing anyone to attend, when everyone here knows exactly what's going on in our country, but believing in liberty and responsibility, we've had the most unbelievable, overwhelming response, thousands and thousands and thousands of students across the country. So you know what this event represents? This event represents freedom, that you can't shut down the country anymore. This event represents that you're not going to lock us down and shut us up any longer. That our rights, our constitutional rights given to us by God, they will no longer be taken away by governors and dictators. And while, of course, understanding that when you have liberty, you must have responsibility. You know the risks. You act appropriately. That's what a mature society does. You don't lock everyone up and act like everyone is the same. That lockdowns have real-life consequences. Where we lost more young people this year to suicide than to the Chinese coronavirus, and that's correct. We will call it the Chinese coronavirus the next couple days. That our generation this year has been told to sit at home and quarantine. And while we were still trying to figure out exactly what we were dealing with, we understood. But we realized that these lockdowns were increasingly one size fits all. They shut down our schools, they canceled prom, graduation, summer and spring sports, some of you fall sports, some of you are still shut down. And these are opportunities, these are experiences and memories you will never get back. And while we understand that there is responsibility for all of us here to make sure that we know what we're dealing with, it is not moral in the least sense at all to use the threat and the power of government to ruin an entire generation. And we didn't know the response we were going to get. We said, we're not sure how many people are going to want to show up. But what we found, as you can see by the overwhelming amount of enthusiasm in this room, I have to say, it's pretty incredible, is that people are ready to take their country back. Is that people are ready to tell Cuomo and Newsom and J.B. Pritzker that we are not going to be locked down any longer. Liberty is hard. There's a reason why our country is different. We need to talk about this more. We need to talk about what that flag represents versus any European country you can pick, the French flag. And it's not anti-France or anti-Italy, but I would expect them to shut down and lock down. Because in their core ideas, it's not liberty. It's not freedom. Liberty's hard. Liberty has costs. Liberty means that if you make a dumb decision, you got to take responsibility for that decision. But I would never want to live in any other country that doesn't respect liberty or first freedoms. And it would be one thing if they were consistent. It would be one thing if they shut everything down. And when BLM Incorporated came on the scene, they said, stop rioting, which would have been nice. But instead, they said, the mass gathering is perfectly okay. So, because of that, all you have to do tonight is take out your rally sign and write Black Lives Matter on the back of your rally sign, and none of you will get the Chinese coronavirus tonight. And this is how they treated us for the last 9 months. They kept weed dispensaries open and churches closed. They said abortion factories and strip clubs are essential, yet they said places of worship are not. Family members died without ever seeing their loved ones. Hospitals being completely and totally shut down from family visitations. Basic rights and basic things that we've always taken for granted in our country. And quite honestly, it's because we let it happen. Freedom is only as valuable as the people willing to contest for it. As soon as we started speaking out against these lockdowns back in April and May, you started to see certain governors and leaders take notice. And I think it is more than deserving that we thank one of the greatest governors in the entire country, the governor of this state, Ron DeSantis, for letting us have this gathering tonight. Because Ron DeSantis very well could have been like other governors. Now, mind you, Ron DeSantis, we can learn a lot from Ron DeSantis. Amazingly, the third most populous state in the country had all of their election results in by 9:30, no allegations of voter fraud, and Donald Trump won by 4 points. It's pretty amazing how that works. You contrast that with a certain governor to a neighboring state to the north, and that's all I have to say about that. Ron DeSantis is a leader. You know why? And this is a great lesson for all of you on campus. He's not afraid of the names that they call him. He doesn't care about all the nasty insults from the activist media. He delivers results for his citizens. He trusts you to make good decisions. He's not going to oversee a complete and total erosion of small businesses, family-owned businesses. He's not going to let that happen. And it is fitting we're here in Florida, because this is a state that's getting things right. It's a state with good leaders, great leadership. You contrast that with California, New York, or Illinois. Instead of being brave or being wise, these states are resorting to a form of safetyism. This false promise that government can always keep you safe at all times. And until we, the people, which is the sovereign in this country, tell our leaders, we're not going to tolerate strip clubs being called essential and churches not. It's not going to happen anymore. We are not going to tolerate all of a sudden they're out in the streets celebrating the Los Angeles Lakers winning the NBA Finals, tens of thousands of people. But you're not even allowed to have 6 people go to a restaurant. Explain this to me. How many of you flew here to the Student Action Summit? Welcome, by the way. Who here traveled the longest distance? We have any Alaska activists? Alaska? You're from... I don't think Arizona's the furthest. I'm hearing a lot of different states, let's just say a lot of distance. So could someone explain this to me? Why is it that you're able to travel 4 hours in an airplane, sitting right next to each other, breathing all over each other? You're allowed to eat on that airplane, but then from the place that you go from and the place you go to while you eat, the restaurants are closed for indoor dining. Makes no sense. The reason, more than anything else, is that the airlines are a very, very powerful lobby. The airlines have a lot of political clout. The airlines have nicely selected political contributions and donors that give them the opportunity to have those carve-outs. Meanwhile, we've lost 100,000 small businesses. We've lost countless lives.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie Kirk, founder and CEO of Turning Point USA. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Turning Point USA.